Welcome to Listen Here, the audiobook podcast where we bring you chapter listens of our much loved audiobooks and sometimes special guest appearances. Happy Mother's Day to all our Listen Here listeners. We've got a great book for you today, Dear Future Mama by Meghan Trainor. The real talk you want about pregnancy, birth, body image, and the newborn days from Meghan Trainor, the chart-topping singer-songwriter behind All About That Bass and Dear Future Husband, and more importantly, Riley's mom. Meghan Trainor has wanted to be a mom since before she even knew how babies were made. And yes, pregnancy and motherhood are miracles, but even a miracle can freak you out sometimes. Dear Future Mama is a heartfelt and humorous guide for expectant mamas inspired by Meghan's own journey into motherhood and expert insights from Meghan's own personal trainer, registered dietitian, husband, and ob-gyn. No shame, no judgment, just straight talk and laughs from a bestie who's been there. Dear Future Mama offers future mamas a place to relax, laugh out loud, and get the pep talk they need to know they are absolutely not alone. Now, here's a sample from Dear Future Mama, a TMI guide to pregnancy, birth, and motherhood from your bestie by Meghan Trainor.
Chapter 6, 12 weeks. Girl, you made it. At 12 weeks, the first trimester was officially over. Woo, woo, woo. The apps told me at this point, my baby was starting to actually look like a baby. A little lime-sized baby with a face and fingers and all that good stuff. I still didn't have a bump, just a constant bloat as if I ate a fat burrito every day, which kept convincing me that there was no baby, and I'd made it up. Yes, there's a baby in there, Daryl would assure me. I don't know why he was so sure. Maybe because my boobs were getting huge? I didn't really have the symptoms that women complain about, but the apps told me that if I was exhausted or nauseous, that was about to get a lot better. But the 12-week mark felt like a big deal because the risk of miscarriage dropped significantly, and I finally felt myself take a breath. Your pregnancy, your news. Your pregnancy is your news to share, and you get to decide how and when to tell people. There's no rule that says you have to wait until 12 weeks. And there's no rule that says you have to make exceptions for the people in your life who would want to know earlier. For me, it felt right for my parents and brothers to be the first people to hear about the pregnancy, followed by my closest friends and my team, who are all like family to me, and then my extended family, and then every single person I cross paths with. But I also think that having a front row seat into a person's life is a privilege, and you get to decide who earned it. A lot of people don't tell anyone but their partner and their provider about the pregnancy until they hit the 12-week mark. So the end of the first trimester also means throwing open the windows and letting the world in on your good news. If you're feeling highly emotional, I do not recommend going on YouTube and watching pregnancy announcement videos. But if you want a good cry, they're the best videos ever. There are probably tens of thousands of videos of people finding out they're going to be a grandparent or a parent for the first time. That magical moment when they find out that their whole world is about to change. I watched tons of these before I even got pregnant. I thought about how I'd tell Daryl. Maybe I'd get a tiny Spy Kid outfit and have him unwrap it. Maybe I'd write a song and sing it to him. Obviously, you know how that turned out. And once I knew, I had absolutely zero chill and zero interest in taking time to think about how to tell my parents in the most dazzling way possible. I was pregnant. I was thrilled. And I just wanted to tell them, like right away. So Daryl and I drove over to my parents' house. I was out of the car before it was fully parked, barging into the kitchen and whipping out my positive pee stick. YouTube had prepared me for a big, emotional moment. But y'all, this is the Trainor family. And my dad always wants to make a funny in every situation, even when it's a positive, life-changing one. That's why we love him, the dad jokes. So no, he didn't crumple into a crying mess. He looked at the test, looked up at me, and said with a straight face, "It's the beginning of the end." Dad! We all laughed uncomfortably, but my mom was smiling like crazy. "Does it really say pregnant?" she asked. looking at the test again and again. Yes, I'm pregnant, I screamed. To be fair, they probably weren't shocked because I announced to the entire family when we were trying and told them the specific days we were trying. I'm obnoxious. We were all laughing and hugging, and no, it wouldn't have made for good YouTube content, but it was accurate and perfect for my adorable, loving parents. If you think you have to go all out for your pregnancy announcements, I can tell you right now that people will be just as excited and joyful hearing it in casual conversations as they would if you went all out. There's just something about knowing that a baby is on the way that makes everyone feel happy. No production value required. I was pregnant during the height of COVID-19, and I was also producing a Christmas album. I had to tell everyone in the studio to make sure they took the testing and protocols seriously. I'm a big mouth, but I also like to be able to tell people my own news. It sucks to feel like you're sharing something big with another person only to have them say, "Oh, I know, I heard." It's a girl, I think. I'm certain, I think. For us, the 12-week mark was important for another reason. We could do a blood test and determine the sex of the baby. Some people don't find out until the 20-week ultrasound, but do you think I could wait that long? Hell no. Some people don't find out until the baby is born. And to them I say, how do you live with that kind of suspense? I didn't think we needed the test because I was already 100% sure I was having a girl. When the apps told me that the baby was the size of a blueberry, I knew that my blueberry had long blonde hair and can sing, and we would be best friends, just like me and my mom. Back when I was spreading the news to anyone with ears, I didn't just say, I'm pregnant. I said, I'm pregnant, and it's a girl, potentially twins. Nobody, not a single soul, had told me I was having twins. But I said this as though it was an absolute fact. It felt like a fact because YouTube was filled with all these old wives' tales about what a girl pregnancy feels like. Pregnancy acne, check. Craving sweets, sure. Morning sickness. Okay, no, but it didn't matter. It was a girl. And the blood test was just a way to confirm how correct I was. But still, the day we knew we'd get the results, my heart was racing. I kept walking around the house saying, Daryl, today we found out about our girl. I watched my phone like a hawk and checked to make sure the ringer was on at least 100 times. And then it rang. Daryl and I held hands while the nurse told us, actually, it's a boy. A boy? A boy? I fell into my hand and started crying. Not sad tears, happy tears. It was like being told I was pregnant all over again. But even better because I could actually start picturing my baby. I could just see him. Red hair and big eyes and a kind heart just like his dad. He'd be funny and silly and sweet.
As a rule, I always want what Meghan wants, so I was team girl all the way. And as much as I'd love a little Meghan someday, I was relieved to know that our first baby would be a boy. Maybe it's because I'm a guy and I felt like it would be easier for me. I laugh at that now because I still didn't have a clue when Riley was born. And after Riley, I'm just stoked to make as many babies as we can.
But under my happy tears, there was something else. Something I categorized as a demon thought. Something I couldn't tell anyone and would have to take to the grave with me. I was bummed, y'all. Not majorly bummed, but I was disappointed. I had already spent all that time imagining my little girl, and I was attached to her. I wanted to brush her hair and teach her to sing, and I wanted her to do little performances in the living room like I was always doing for my family. The minute I heard, it's a boy, all those little moments just poof, disappeared. There was no little girl. I'd still be the only girl stuck in a house full of boys. My 2 brothers live in my house with us. I know we're all supposed to just be amped to have a healthy, happy baby, and we were. But I just want to say for any other moms out there who have all their eggs in one basket, it's okay to be a little disappointed if you don't get what you were expecting. You're not a monster. You're not ungrateful. You just spent a few weeks in your own imagination building a relationship with a version of your baby who doesn't exist. I wasn't walking around the house sulking, but a part of my heart felt a little sad that I was wrong. Plus, I already told so many people I was for sure having a girl. Embarrassing. Once I let go of the momentary disappointment of knowing that I wasn't having a little version of me, I was pumped for this boy. I could imagine him with more detail every day. I was practicing saying, "our son," and smiled like a goofball. I imagined him in little matching outfits with Daryl, dressing him up for Halloween, him playing video games with my brothers. I'm the only girl in my family, and my brothers are literally my best friends, usually. So the more I got used to the idea, the more it started to feel like destiny. I wanted to do a gender reveal so badly, but as we all know, I also have zero patience. So instead, I did individual gender reveals that were absolutely not Pinterest worthy in any way. I turned on the video on my phone and made people guess what we were having. I started with my brothers and my Uncle Steve, and each one of them said the same thing. "Well, you're smiling, so it must be a girl." Before they were even done with saying the word girl, Daryl and I were shouting, "It's a boy!" In all our lives, I have never seen that much pure joy on my brothers' faces. I know they would have been happy either way, but hearing they were getting another little guy to add to their pack definitely had them stoked. That got me even more stoked. We're having a boy! Your baby, your boundaries. Once people know you're pregnant, get ready to be showered with love, attention, and questions. I've always known that people were curious, but pregnancy taught me that people are nosy as hell. Personally, I'm an open book and a borderline oversharer, but not everyone wants to get into a conversation about breastfeeding with a stranger at the pharmacy. And you shouldn't have to. There's something about a pregnant belly that makes people lose their minds and any sense of boundaries. Name another time in a woman's life where a person would randomly try to rub her belly. Wouldn't happen. Pregnant women are subject to all kinds of questions. Are you going to find out the gender? What names are you considering? Are you going to stay home or go back to work? What's your birth plan? How's your cervix feeling? What are you craving? Personally, I think you have the right to tell anyone to mind their business. But if you want more socially acceptable ways to say, "back the fuck off," here are some options. Oh, I'm not comfortable talking about that with anyone but my partner or my doctor. We aren't sharing our baby's name until they've arrived. Thanks for asking, but I don't want to discuss that right now. If you're nervous to say any of these, people pleaser over here, try it with a smile to soften the blow. Mama's second trimester permission slip. By the end of your second trimester, your hormones are going buck wild. Your internal organs have rearranged themselves to accommodate a whole-ass person that you grew inside of you. Hello, you made a skeleton, teeth, a tiny little heart, fingers, toes, balls, or extra ovaries. And you did all that while you were also doing whatever your other jobs are. You're probably wondering how the hell you're going to get even bigger and how your ankles won't break under you. You might be realizing that this baby has to come out of you somehow, and you are freaking out. These are all valid and normal feelings. Just in case you need a little reminder, this and so much more has earned you permission to do whatever the heck you want, including, but not limited to, crying whenever you want, especially if it's a YouTube pregnancy reveal for a couple who has been trying for years. Giving up on cute maternity clothes and wearing your husband's giant sweatshirts and whatever leggings you can get over your belly. Actually, fuck it. You can just roll those leggings under your belly if you have to. Thinking, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard when a complete stranger gives you unsolicited advice on how to be pregnant. Some people just weren't born with the ability to realize when they're overstepping their bounds. Bless their hearts. Questioning your husband's taste and honesty when he says you've never looked more beautiful. Like never, never, buddy? Really? Don't you think that's a little insulting to the version of me that showed up looking like a real-life princess at our wedding? I'm mostly joking, but damn. Having a full-on meltdown when you face a minor inconvenience. There's just a lot going on inside of you right now. And you can't always keep it together when one snack you were looking forward to all day is mysteriously missing from the fridge and your husband and brothers are all pointing the finger at one another. Is that just a me thing? Prioritizing yourself and your health above everything else. Canceling plans last minute can be a mama's best friend. Documenting your body. Your body is beautiful, even if you don't think so right now. This is a moment in time, and if you're miserable right now, having photos to look back at will remind you that you were beautiful. I'm lucky I have a full-on team for glam, but a girl at the makeup counter at the mall can also make you feel pretty. You don't need to hire a fancy photographer if money is tight. My brother took my maternity pics. I don't recommend this because my nips were slipping and I'm pretty sure he's traumatized. But put on some makeup and have your girlfriend or husband take some photos. This moment will pass and it's worth documenting. I promise.
Thank you for spending time with us, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen Here. Check back next week for more audiobook samples and maybe a special guest or two. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts, or find us on Instagram and TikTok at Listen Here Podcast. Visit our website, listenherepodcast.com, for more information or to find the books we've talked about. See you next week.